One of the most important skills that leaders, as leaders, we need to develop is to learn how to learn. We are operating under conditions that are always changing and always evolving and are emergent. And when we are leading in this kind of an environment, the ability to learn how to learn becomes a meta skill that can enable a host of other skills. And getting better at this means it's easier to master other skills. And therefore helps us become effective efficiently. So the question then is, how do we learn how to learn? Or how can leaders learn? So I was invited to preview this book called How Leaders Learn. It's an HBR book. It's going to be released sometime soon if it is not already. So here is a combination of what I learned both from reading the book and adding to that my own lived experience. Learning is most effective when it is active and when we are involved in the entire process of learning. For experienced leaders, learning might also mean to begin with learning how to unlearn what we have already learned and that which is not effective in the current context in which we are operating in. That, I think, has become more difficult than learning anything new. In the book How Leaders Learn, the author talks about 3 ways that leaders can learn. Learn from, learn by, and learn to, which in a way is also very similar to what I think of, which is learn from experience, ours, others, learn by doing, which is actual task and getting into the deep end of the work itself, and learning by learning new technical skills, which is in the classroom, which is by reading books or having mentoring session. This is where you learn new skills. So let's double click on each one of these to understand what it all means, right? So the first one is learning from. In my case, I think I would call it learning from experience. So this is all about learning from our lived experience, the stories that we tell about them. We can do this by reflecting on our experiences, and I think reflection needs to become a part of our daily exercise if we are leaders. So coming back to specifically how to learn is by reflecting on our experiences, what we did, why we did it, what did we expect to happen, what actually happened, what we got right, what we got wrong, why did we get this right and why did we get this wrong. So these are some of the questions that we need to think about on a regular basis, if not about everything that we do, at least for those which are important topics. The learning that we get from that is humongous. The same can also be said about learning from the lived experience of our people we consider as our mentors or whom we look up to. This is where reading biographies and autobiographies actually can help. It is also by talking to them, being mentored by them, coached by them, reading about them, as I said, biographies and autobiographies, their experiences, watching or listening to their interviews, sometimes even interviewing them. I know that I have learned a lot from having the opportunity to talk to many people as part of my podcast. I would never otherwise get a chance to talk to some of these brilliant people. Kevin Kelly, Mitch, Joel, Forrest Munshi, Dr. Efrath Goldratt, Dr. Alan Bernard. I don't think I would ever get a chance to speak to people, luminaries like that, if I did not have the podcast. And after having listened to them, after having watched their interviews, I think I'm a much better person than I was before Um, this can also be about learning from the environments that we find ourselves in, the context within which we are operating. Every context within which we operate has something interesting to teach to us if we are only open and willing to learn. We can learn what makes this context unique, what works in this context, what doesn't, and more importantly, why. This could also be learning from the experiences of people whom we want to emulate, actively. And also people whom we do not want to emulate actively. From the life experiences of people that we do not want to become like. What they did that we should never do. What they did not do that we should always do. There is always learning from all sorts of people, if only we are able to be open and are conscious and intentional about learning from all of them. Last aspect of learning from is learning from crisis. As we all know, every crisis comes with it or brings with it a set of opportunities. I know that there is a popular saying that goes, hidden in each crisis is a significant opportunity. All we need to do is go looking for that opportunity. Now let's go to the second thing, which is learning to. So this is about learning skills, tools, techniques, which help us in our day-to-day activities. Right? It could be like, for example, learning to present well, learning to tell stories well, learning how to craft a vision, learning how to do one-on-one meetings better, learning how to resolve conflicts better, learning how to facilitate better, learning how to provide critical feedback better, learning how to interview people, learning how to read people, learning how to see the hidden potential among people, learning how to bring out that potential from that people, from those people. So all of these are skills. It could also be about tools. For example, learning how to use the new CRM tool, learning how to use artificial intelligence, learning how to use technology in any and whatever form that it comes to us. Right? It could also be learning to listen, learning to work on our own self-awareness, on our ability to be socially aware, whether it is our ability to be contextually aware, whether it is our ability to make sense of everything that is happening around us, whether it is our ability to learn how to problem solve better, learning how to find patterns in data, learning how to avoid some of the biases that we are all subjected to. All of these are skills, tools, techniques that we can learn to be a better or become a better leader. Last one, learning by, which is learning by experimenting. So one of the things that I talk about in my book Thrive is our ability to design and run small micro experiments. This is the scientist's mindset. You have an hypothesis, you want to test the hypothesis by running experiments. You could also do the same thing with thought experiments, like Albert Einstein did in order to come up with the theory of relativity. But the point is that we design and run experiments. This could also mean that we learn by seeking new and bigger challenges, things that we think we are not ready for yet. But we learn along the way by creating small micro experiments day in, day out. It is also about learning by preparing and being ready for all possible outcomes, or by finding ways to mitigate risks, or finding ways to simplify that which is complex, or by taking on systemic challenges and solving for them. As they say, the best way to learn is to teach. So learning by teaching or mentoring or coaching other leaders is one of the best way for us to learn our own thinking. Because when someone asks a question and we answer that question, our subconscious mind puts together a reason why we did something and why we did not do something else. It's a form of reflection. And sometimes it could reveal a lot more about ourselves to ourselves than anything else. All I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter how we learn. It doesn't matter whether we learn by teaching, by experimenting, by from someone else's experience, from our own experience, from crisis, from seeking bigger challenges. It doesn't matter how we learn as long as we learn. The more modes we use to learn, the easier it becomes to learn. And the variety of things that we can learn by using different modes makes the learning a lot more depth, gives the learning a lot more depth. So, in conclusion, all I would say is this: always be learning. It is not only for our own benefit, but if we do that on an ongoing basis, and if the people that we lead see us do that, they would be inspired to continue to learn as well. So we can inspire a generation of leaders who understand the importance of learning and are continually learning as well. What better way can we improve our effectiveness than by inspiring the next generation of leaders to become better leaders? Don't you agree?